In this video, we're going to tell you about the hotfix number 3 for Baldur's Gate 3. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel. We give you the secrets to crush Baldur's Gate 3. So, they have the weirdest names. This is version number 4.1.1.3636.828. You remember that one? Anyways, it dropped on August 11th, 2023. So I'm recording this because nobody else went over this hotfix. I tend to look at the updates because, I typically do stuff on glitches, and my infinite money, infinite resources merchant glitch is still working with this hotfix, but they said they fixed another 200 bugs. They dropped a hotfix a few days ago. So part of these bugs and fixes are going to be spoilery. But I will tell you before we get to the spoilers. So you can stick around until then. This first part is not going to have spoilers. So 200 bugs, issues and more. Dog's man's best friend, but remarkably high maintenance. In this update, we let Scratch off the leash a bit, and he'll sniff out digging spots by himself and give him a pet for every bit of treasure he uncovers, you heartless monsters. Alright, so there's a bit of fun they're having with us in that first paragraph. I'd also say that, my videos are linked in the description. You definitely want to check out that glitch, infinite money glitch video before hotfix number 4. You never know when that'll be patched out. And it is insane, and it will change your playthrough. Alright, so let's continue with the blog they have on Steam. Also, we decided to make the blue Behir dice permanently available to all players. Some lucky players may have gotten hold of it early, but we'll just roll with it. As ever, thank you for playing Baldur's Gate 3 and reporting these issues behind the front lines. Our team would like to thank you for how much information you're providing in the bug reports. It's enabled us to get these hotfixes ready very quickly. Continue to be thorough. We appreciate it. Please reach out to our support team, and there's a link to that. I'll put that link in the description if you run into trouble. Crashes and blockers. Fix an issue with spell slots that would prevent you from leveling up while multiclassing. Fixed an edge case issue preventing you from initiating a long rest. Fixed a cross-save issue causing you to get stuck syncing indefinitely, which prevented saving and loading. Fixed a crash that would occur when selecting a summon without a hotbar with a det in the hotbar was maximized. I would say the game for me has crashed like once, but I have like a 4090 with a 12900K. But I thought it's run really great. Not many crashes, not many things wrong. Although, my tip to you is do not send keys or other things that might be keys to your camp until you've gotten out of the mission. Fix the hireling UI from being split in half on each monitor in split screen. Fix some visual artifacts appearing on split screen when using Vulkan. While now correctly recognized and confronts Karlach when you speak to him with a Karlach avatar after another avatar has already spoken to him. Those are the multiplayer issues. Okay, so we've got combat issues, character creation, audio, gameplay, journal, UI, cinematics, and each one of these categories has some spoilers, but I'm not going to do any spoilers yet. So UI made blue Behir dice permanently available on all platforms with just the base game. Fixed UI seemingly disappeared because the game thinks character is still in dialogue, which could happen when you go into dialogue in the middle of combat. Fixed an attack button disappearing from dialogue UI after save game mode during a dialogue. Alright. And then let's see if we have another audio. When things go south in Kresh Yilik, the music now goes from mellow to metal. Character creation, fix mismatches between colors and character creation in game, mainly affecting horns. Okay, we've done the multiplayer. So combat, gameplay, journal, flow and scripting, and cinematics have some spoilers. Although you have to get really low on cinematics to get to spoilers. So we'll start with that. We've not got to any spoilers yet. Make sure you get certain dialogue with Voss and Camp. This is under cinematics. Fix replacing dialogue when taking Gale to wild shaped. Fix Asterion repeating information about his master if you speak to him twice in a row. Fix Asterion oversharing about his master a little too early. Fix the leg twitch in a conversation between Shadowheart and a certain dame. I would say these are actually kind of spoilery, so I can't guarantee spoilers from this point on. Move the Dark Urge to a different pod on the Nautiloid to prevent wrong dialogue from playing. Fixed Asterion's knife not being held against Dragonborn throats correctly during his recruitment dialogue at the beach. Made generous improvements to a dialogue at camp with Asterion. Added missing animation for Karlach and Asterion's recruitment dialogue. Gale now rests his head correctly on his bedroll pillow. Cleaned up pops and mocap issues in the dialogue when Gale teaches you a spell. Fixed Gale's arms clipping with his thigh. Fixed where characters are looking facing dialogue when Gale receives his history. Fixed Wile's head jitters and strange turns during recruitment dialogue. I guess Will. Maybe it's Will. Will. Made general improvements to cameras, facing reactions, and movements in dialogue at camp with Will. Cleaned up the mocap in the scene with Lae'zel suspended in a cage. Tall characters' hands no longer clip with their face interacts with Karlach in a romantic moment. Adjusted Edwin's pose and dialogue with him and his siblings in the forest. Fixed a corpse in the goblin camp from standing back up when you speak with dead on it. Tweak the cameras and facial expressions in the dialogue with Halcyon in the celebration at camp. You know, I've been starting to use this speak with dead, and most of them won't speak to me. Fixed clipping with the statue at camp at the dialogue at night at Gale. Fixed animation issues if you turn down Gale in the dialogue when he teaches you a spell. Adjusted some hand positions when interacting with the console and the Nautiloid. Shadowheart is now sitting in a better pose when fiddling with her mysterious artifact during her camp scene. Fixed emotions and facial expressions in dialogue with Shadowheart, Omatola, and Minthara. Fixed a camera shot when taking the Mind Flayer on the beach, talking to the Mind Flayer on the beach. Fixed an irrelevant line in camp dialogue with Shadowheart. Fixed Dragonborn players during the wrong direction after Asterion's bitey scene at camp. Fix Roland and Leah looking in the wrong direction when their dialogue in the Emerald Grove. Fix camera issues in dialogue with Sifley in the Emerald Grove. Fix character legs clipping into the ground when looking through a telescope in the Emerald Grove. Fix some mocap related pops in dialogue with Ceres in the Emerald Grove. Fix a pop for one of the ogres in the Blighted Village. Fix some camera issues. Remove the ring from the background in dialogue for Crusher. Ask you to kiss his foot. Now this all seems like the very thorough type stuff that they're doing here. You know, these are not game breaking things, but it's amazing that they're able to fix these so quickly. Improved facial expressions, camera shots, and other issues in Shadowheart's recruitment dialogue at Goblin Camp. And I think this also just says to you that this is a game that was in early access for 3 years, and a lot of these things are happening in the Act 1 region, which was in early access, and there are still things because of the just huge nature of this game that they did not have nailed down even after early access, where they had basically free testers. I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying it is just an enormous job, and I'm just amazed at what they've done in so few days. Fix the twisting forearm in a dialogue between Lae'zel and Voss at camp. Fix characters clipping into each other when they're feeling ill at camp. Characters now appear correctly in the dialogue when the bugbear in the forest. The ogre's weapon is also hidden. Fix the camera clipping into the ground when you speak to your dream visitor at camp. I would say my biggest thing with this whole video game is its camera angles. There are just some times where you can't get the camera angles right, and I have to like go to camp, go away from camp, change who's leading this thing just to get the camera angle so I can go through a door. Fix halfling's thumbs clipping through the soul coin when speaking to Nadira. Make general improvements in camera, facial expressions, and animations for the romance dialogue with Will. Fix some camera issues in the dialogue with Oscar and Zent hideout. Lizelle is no longer visible during Shadowheart's recruitment dialogue by the chapel. Cleaned up some mocap and made some general improvements with dialogue with Glut. Removed an incorrect animation in the dialogue with the necromancy of Thay. Fixed a minor clip when speaking to Sovereign Spay in the Underdark. Fixed feet not making contact with the ground when using Featherfall to leap into the Underdark. Fixed an animation issue when changing noble stacks with Denarith and Underdark. Fixed a head pop in the scene and the raft in the Underdark. Fixed Lazelle's crossed eyes in the dialogue with Lady Esther near Rosemary Monastery. Fixed a couple lines with Zoru and Kresh and Yelek playing at the wrong moment. Fixed the position of the character's feet, preventing clipping and moving Lazelle to prevent her looking in the wrong way in the Kresh Yelek. Added fade-ins and fade-outs and tweaked the facial expressions in the dialogue with Canis in the Shadow Cursed Lands. Hit a goblin floating in the background when talking to the drinker in the Shadow Cursed Lands. Fixed paddle hands in the scene where the Harpers ambush the Drider's convoy in the Shadow Cursed Lands. Fixed Drider jittering and the cameras looking at the wrong way in the Harpers' bodies in the ambush in the Shadow Cursed Lands. Fixed some animations and camera issues in the dialogue with the Harper Skywind in the Shadow Cursed Land. Fixed one of the Jaheira's lines getting cut off in her dialogue late last night. Fixed the timing of Marcus's wing flap animation when he flies from last night. Fixed the dagger appearing on the strange ox if you speak animals onto it. Fixed Jaheira looking like she sinks into the ground on certain lines. Fixed the barrel clipping in the Thisball Thorm's pipes. Thisball Thorm's tubes no longer twitch and twist. Fixed head angles and pops in dialogues with Eraj and Astian and Moonrise. Fixed camera character placement issues in dialogue with Jaheira and Moonrise. Fixed some camera angles in dialogue with Eraj at Moonrise. Fixed lip syncing for the rat in the Gauntlet of Shar. You know, the weirdest thing I think about all these like cutscenes is that your character does not speak in the cutscene. It's only the character you're speaking with that you have dialogue for. It's a little weird to me. I think there must be some mathematical reason for this, but I know it's a nitpick, but it just, usually you get voice on both sides and you'll get voice on half the side here. Not sure why that is. I haven't really thought it through, why it's so much easier for them to do it that way, but it must be because, but goodness, they have a lot of choice in dialogue, and I've not seen so much choice in any game. So make sure large characters don't block the clip in Shadowheart when you arrive in the, spoiler, Shadowfell. Fix clipping in the shot in the, spoiler, colony in the Three Chosen. Camera will no longer try to show a shot of, spoiler, Minsk if he's presented the Temple of Baal. Remove certain pale individuals from the background of camp dialogue. I didn't know what they were talking about with the spoilers. I think all these are spoilery, to be honest. Fix duplicate line in the dialogue of Gotash and Worms Crossing. Clean the animations for Izzy, the girl to sneak in the circus. Fix hirelings clipping into whoever's taking the dialogue and Zentho in the circus. Fix character placement and clipping issues at camp scene in Elfsong Stamford. Clean the mocap in the dialogue in Alexander Gray in the Water Queen's house. Fix pacing on how certain characters in the House of Grief are revealed. Fix where their companions in Shadowheart are looking, where they are looking when meeting particular character in the House of Grief. Fix some facial expressions and camera issues in the dialogue that plays after Gotish is defeated. You know, the fact that this list is so long, and this is just of cutscenes, just tells you like how many cutscenes there are in this game. Fix several snaps and twitches in dialogue in the pale individuals of Frago's Flophouse. Improve facial expressions when timing the Lady of Flux in Guildhall. Fix an issue where characters are looking at dialogue and errated at sources sundries. Fix the wrong animation being used when closing a sarcophagus in Cardazzo's palace. Added new camera shots and a romance dialogue with Halsin, and the dialogues in the Stormshore Tabernacle. Fixed, spoilers, Savarak looking at like he floats upwards toward the tribunal. Made sure chains are no longer there after you free spoiler Valeria. Fixed an animation to avoid clipping for the halflings when the halflings mail when they hold spoiler the helm of Baldur. Fixed spoiler Orin and her victim being invisible when you enter the Temple of Baal. Fixed Asterion jittering and dialogue in a particular pool. Made sure characters don't stay in their wild shape in the endgame cinematic dialogue. Fixed excessive neck twisting in the endgame dialogue. Fixed some mocap related pops in endgame dialogue with Will. Fixed an issue with Karlach's final dialogues causing it to end too early. Spoiler, the Emperor is no longer missing from one of the endgame cinematics. Fix the line being cutting off the game in the dialogues. Fix some issue with Will's mocap in the endgame dialogue. Fix some pops in endgame dialogue with Gale. Fix an issue with Karlach's final scenes from triggering and making sure she's wearing her camp clothing and romance dialogues. Fix the wrong characters appearing in the cinematic shot near the end of the game. Okay, that seems important to have the right characters in the end of the game. Okay, so that was just cinematics, right? So those are just like the cutscenes. Alright, here's combat. Fix spoiler, the cultists in the Temple of Baal reacting strangely to wild-shaped characters in combat. Fix the guards in the counting house will now continue pursuing you through the vault room. Fix the camera not working correctly in spoiler combat with answer. Fix a bug that would let you hide actions of your term inside a combat. Increased Isabel's AC to restore the intended balance. Increased Glitterband's hit points and dexterity gave him a shield spell. If you deal damage to certain ballless lackeys in the sewers, they will not lose their unstoppable condition. Spoiler, fixed Harleap going into the ethereal plane on the killing blow and then coming back again. Adding NPCs in the Drider's convoy to the same combat group. Fixed the hag not having her illusions occasionally spawn on top of the explosive mine. Fixed an issue where Knowles took too much time to react during the start of their pack leader attack them. Okay, and then gameplay. Fix an issue preventing you from talking to Withers in Act 3. Companions can now also trigger various tutorial pop-ups. Scratch now find digging spots himself. Fix the hatch in the Emerald Grove not unlocking after successful check. Devils in the details. The achievements now can be achieved by all party members, including followers. Fix an issue with crimes that meant you wouldn't get caught committing a crime if another party had already committed a more serious crime and resolved it peacefully. You now get the bloodless condition on the morning after Asterion bites you. Fix the bug allowing you to spam party members' voice lines near the log where you can recruit Karlach. Will no longer says you should find and slay Karlach after you've recruited her. If Jatlo is still disguised after Shadow Curse has been lifted, he now drop the disguise when attacked. Make sure Youth Visker looks like he's cleaning before you talk to him in Kretch Yilik. Fix the hatchery and infirmary map in Kretch Yilik. Spoiler, Lizelle will no longer permanently leave the party if you refuse to follow with Black Mist orders. Fix the bug preventing you from using the Planecaster and Siluric or whatever. Removed ownership of the portraits of Los and Sybil so that taking them is not a crime. Increase the bounds of the Inquisitor's room in Kretch Yilik so that the game doesn't think you're left if you enter one of the side rooms. When playing as Shadowheart, telling Asterion about your affiliation with Shar now affects his approval rating. Asterion will now be better at remembering whether you've seen his back. You can no longer loot items belonging to the Inquisitor in Kretch Yilik without consequence. Fix a range of indicators on the Orthon's quickly tickling minds. The dialogue that follows combat with spoiler Gazor will now trigger correctly if you, spoiler, interact with certain sarcophagi during combat. Alfura's loot is no longer visible, spoiler, while she's at camp. Fix the explosion VFR in the toy chest in the barn in Worms Crossing. Added proper name to the Sheriff's Caress. Spoiler, Carrion will now resurrect with full health instead of 0 HP, and you can now reach his jars. Interacting certain runes slates on the nanoloid will now correctly trigger the narrator's line. Fix alarm in, spoiler, the counting house going off when it shouldn't. Spoiler, Orin will now react to wild shaped characters. And spoiler, the Temple of Baal added a word label to spoiler Orin's body so she's easy to find. Remove duplicated furniture in the Elfsong Tavern. Made a door in the Elfsong Tavern indestructible. Fixed in edge cases where characters would not correctly attach to the game grid, causing knock-on issues. Okay. Journal. Fix a journal not updating after you meet the pale individuals at Frago's Flophouse. The journal now updates correctly for the rescue of Trapped Man's quest. Dame Gisarm now reacts more accurately to your progress in the investigation of the murderer's quest. Fixed an inaccurate line in the Help of the Hag Survivor's quest. Fixed a misleading journal update in the Mushroom Picker quest. Updated Will's map marker to make the quest objective more precise. Made it easier to wake up to Kurlock quest if you follow with art. Fixed confusing map art marker and add several steps for clarity. The Find the Night Song quest. Improve the journal entry flow for the Solve the Open Hand Double Murders quest. Fix Investigate at Kaldor's Place quest not completing if you help Asterion finish what Kazdor started. Flow and scripting. Fix Shadowheart dialogue on the Nautiloid playing twice when playing as Avatar Lazul. Remove dialogue option is no longer relevant when talking to Karlach. Make sure you get Asterion's bitey scene at camp if you discover the secret through other means. Fix Asterion's mentioning things that haven't happened yet if you romance him early on. Fix Avatar Gale's hunger not progressing if he doesn't meet Tara before the Nautiloid crash site. Fix an issue that prevented Brockall from triggering the correct dialogue when he's being released. Minthra now reacts more appropriately if you kill the Tieflings. Removed unnecessary VFX dialogue in the Raphael at night last night. Fix Glut saying the wrong line when he reanimates a Spore Servant. Made the dialogue options in the Therazin more relevant if you've already been at the hatchery. Fix a bug causing the wrong dialogue to play when speaking to the reconstituted duelist if you haven't met him before. Fix the same dialogue option twice when reinteracting with the Mirror of Loss. Kled now plays the dialogue of Old Carlo's Place. Make sure Larissa and Laflaren don't appear in the Elfsong Tavern if you don't save them. Fix Locrane appearing to the dialogue in camp if you haven't met him. You can no longer ask Isabel the same question about Karthik on 2 separate occasions. Fix some wrong lines when you reach the late stage of the game. Fix Tubin thinking you have a Runeport bomb when you don't. Mizora no longer disappears from the game after you resolve the Iron Throne situation. Spoiler, after Mizora pops up at the Iron Throne, she will now back at camp instead of disappearing. Spoiler, Will no longer talks about his father as if he's not there anymore if his father was saved. Fix Havelock accepting the Gith egg via dialogue if he doesn't have enough gold for it, and made it impossible to pickpocket back if you sold it to him. Corilla is now better at recognizing how you responded to Raphael's deal. Swap 2 couples in the Elfsong Tavern so that they sit together at the right tables. Fix spoiler, Jaheira becoming a follower in the Moonrise even if the conditions weren't met, which could cause other issues with, spoiler, Jaheira's flow. Jaheira not returning to her human form once she leaves your party. If, spoiler, Kazdor's bats are too far from the player to join combat, they will now join anyways. Fix dialogue checks if you die in combat with the Honor Guard and are revived by the Emperor Worm's Lookout. Fix AI control of Lae'zel kicking you out of the multiplayer game, with Lae'zel becoming hostile towards the remaining players. Spoiler, if they betray Volkov, the Inquisitor Wogarth. Improved Halsin's reactivity to whether or not you've been to Spoiler Grimforge. Fix some incorrect options showing up in dialogue in Halsin about a particular drawn couple. Fix Orin assuming that you ate a particular morsel even if you didn't. Fix the blocker preventing Spoiler Night Song from going to Rasmuth Tower, and other issues related to her appearing in the wrong place or not appearing at all. Made Blue Bay hair... Okay, and then I think we've done the other sections. Alright, subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel. We give you the secrets to crush Baldur's Gate 3. Those are all the patch notes for August 11th, 2023. That is called Hotfix number 3 on PC. We still don't have a PS5 version out. We have to wait a few weeks for that.